The best thing you can do is to be exceptionally good at something.
Question to you is, why not you? You've got the brains, you can make decisions, you can study the plan, you can change your life, you can grow immensely in the next few years. Why not you?
Are you all in on the chair? Like the point really is you put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. You're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones?
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk.
Great investors are like great basketball players. They're hard to come by. They have almost a gift, the ability to assimilate information, draw conclusions, and to act on their beliefs. It's a really unique and hard skill to find.
Oh yeah. Yo. Welcome back to another episode. It's a midweek episode. It's got to be a fun one this week. We got heaps to talk about. We got Stanley Druckenmiller. We got the weekly closes. We've got Zcash ETF. We've got Solana triple digits. There's heaps to talk about. It's going to be lots of fun. Yeah, how you feeling, Tom?
Oh, it's been a great week. Great price action, and we're starting to see everything start to move off really what looks like could be the bottom here. Not going to call it right now, but from what we're seeing in price action, it looks insane. We're seeing BTC, alts like Solana, ETH. We're going to dive all into it. And yeah, it's quite amazing how quickly a turn of events can happen. But we have been speaking about it. So it's been quite an eventful week for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's been huge. Crazy weekly candles to see. We can literally just go through some of the weekly candles now to start us off, because we had those weekly closes from when we talked about them on the last episode. And the closes are important. Like, when you're watching the daily and the weekly charts, you want to see where it actually closes. So we were talking about them last episode, but now we actually got to see the weekly close of this first move that we've seen in a long time that's actually been moving to the upside. So we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just, it's crazy. It's a huge candle. Like, what do we got? Almost 24%.
On the weekly time frame as well.
Yeah, on the weekly, and it closed nice. It closed above two levels that we were watching. So if you're new here, we're very big on not picking the very bottom or not trying to, but looking where Bitcoin's cheap. And this was our cheap zone, the blue, and you didn't really get much time to buy in there. And we said that you can kind of DCA at whatever level you think Bitcoin's cheap, and just watch those like certain levels and watch those for like real confirmation. So these are two of them which are just smoked past. And then this is a big one. This is where I think personally you're really off to the races. Once we get above that kind of 84, that could push up to a potential bull flip on the weekly, which is our trend indicator. But yeah, massive weekly close, big candle, looks good. And just across the board, like obviously if you've been in crypto, you know that when Bitcoin moves, sometimes you get alts which move a lot. There's more volatility in the altcoin market. Like we saw a pump, which is a big one we watched. It's even up 9% today almost, and like that weekly candle last week was 96%, which was just insane. Like, we've been following pump closely. We're watching it on the daily, and we said that if we get a pullback into this red line, that we thought it was going to rocket. So we saw it break this, and then we waited for the daily close. We said it probably pulls back and then rockets, and it's just done that. It's up like 140% since that, and yeah, it's continuing to move again.
Yeah, it's looking so nice. And like all these different plays are so set up right now. Everything's been so sold off for like 12 months. We're seeing like alts like Pump Fun getting that flip in like mid-July. So it was one of the earlier ones, and definitely going to be one that I'm watching to continue on into this bull that we're starting to see now.
Yeah, and it's set up that it's just an all-around good setup. Like, you've got the kind of macro setup starting to happen. I think we're really conditioned for some good times ahead in the crypto market. So just seeing this kind of start of it, this kind of takeoff, because I don't think we're there yet, but I don't think we've started yet, but I don't think like we're fully going yet is what I'm trying to say. Like I think this is just the start. So yeah, seeing it start this way is cool. And
the prequel before the move. It's definitely warming up. Like you can just feel it looking at price action, what's happening on like X and different news outlets with like seeing ETF inflows coming back. So yeah, it's starting to really like the beginning stages for sure.
Yeah, and there's definitely signs of it throughout the market. Like even when you see engagement start to come back on shows like these, people on X and stuff, you kind of see retail start to come back in. And if you've been around crypto long enough, you know the signs as well. Like we were talking about it last week. When you get good news, you pump, and when you get bad news, it doesn't affect it too much. And it's usually the opposite way around in a bear market. So there's a lot of sentiment shifts that we're seeing at the moment, as well as price action, which really leads us to think that this could be the start of a big run.
Yeah, 100%. And like BTC is like a market indicator itself, like coming out of a bear trend, starting a fresh bull. Like this is the perfect time to like lock in on a show like this and really like understand and analyze what's going on and getting your own kind of like thesis and understanding of your own plan, because it's so like right now getting a plan, a structure on like what to do over the next 3 years if the 4-year cycle is what is intact here, and then yeah, making a really nice plan, because these opportunities are only just starting to form. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also just like that's a big thing with the crypto market, kind of with all markets, but especially with the crypto market, is that a good way to play it is just pretty much to be like chronically online and learning. Like you just want to find spots and you want to be able to play those spots well. So even if just listening to stuff like this and reading X, and just keeping your brain stimulated with the industry, I think that's a really good way to play this market really well.
Yeah, 100%. I love the stimulation of the mind.
Yeah, because like while it's important to have asymmetrical bets and believe things that not everyone else believes, there's also just so many ways you can get free alpha and free advice and just information out there to formulate your own opinion.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then what are we looking at? I know ETH did a massive pull as well. I know this is like the first stream since like all this has kind of unfolded. So this is like a couple days now, but like even ETH with a massive candle. I think Solana now breaking over 100, pull back a little bit, but these like main alts like ETH, Solana are starting to move as well as quickly as BTC.
Yeah, 3-digit Solana is big. That's big news. So we can pull up the Solana chart, which is on the daily time frame. But yeah, we saw Solana get above 3 digits, so 3 digits is there. It's kind of wicks down. Like we said before, you kind of expect that. It's obviously a big level of mental resistance, but also just resistance on the chart in general. Like you have, we can see like over here. But so you kind of expect that. But yeah, it's good to see it kind of hover around that $100, tease it, and I think it will eventually break out a lot higher. ETH's good. There's been a lot of good catalysts for ETH, which is nice to see, because ETH's kind of been the general consensus is that shorting ETH's a good idea. And I've always liked ETH. So seeing it from a technical standpoint go up is good, but also seeing people like Robinhood and these kind of things be a good catalyst for ETH is, yeah, cool to see. We can look at the 100%. ETH weekly close, because I'm sure, just like Bitcoin, I don't even know. There's some crazy lines going on this chart right here, but 31, almost 32% on ETH last week, which is big. Yeah, if we can see a bull flip on the weekly, that would be awesome.
It's just mental how like quickly things can change when something like good news happens in a time where it's been 12 months, it's been oversold for 12 months, and getting that big, quick shift. There's been some other factors surrounding why it's pumped. Also, ETF inflows coming back, so you're seeing buyers returning, whether that's now institutions buying, getting ready for retail coming back in, they're stacking their exchanges, stuff like that. So we're starting to see that now. And yeah, in terms of like ETF inflows, like BTC ETF inflows have almost been like 500 million and a 6-day streak of almost 3 billion. So it's quite large capital returning, whether this is exchanges, stacking their stockpile, stuff like that. So it's really interesting to see, like, now affected in price action. You're seeing ETH pump, you're seeing Solana, these major ones that is definitely going to be, I think, are going to be the movers this market cycle, like we've seen in the previous ones in ETH, Solana. So those main ones are starting to move pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. We saw Michael Saylor talking about like inflows and people coming back. I was going to pull it up, but I don't think
I know. They're buying again, are they not?
I don't know if he's bought
they
yet,
need
but he's
to.
back in the green, which is good news for Saylor.
Yeah.
I don't have it pulled up here, but yeah, Saylor's back in the green. He's like $4 billion in realized profit now. And yeah, ETF inflows are starting to come up. That's another sign you like to watch. But to be honest, not too much of a tell, just good to see.
Yeah, good to see that there's interest coming back for sure. And I know ETF inflow has been like so like choppy, like up and down, selling off throughout this whole year. So not factoring it around, just saying it's bullish now because of that. There's other factors as well, and I'm sure we'll dive into it this episode.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm super interested in as well is one of the reasons why it went up so much is because the kind of debasement trade is back on the table, which is good to see. I've always been big on the debasement trade, long Bitcoin, long gold, long silver. But basically, you had Bessent come out and he said that they were going to double their Treasury buybacks to $4 billion. And basically, the reason they do that is to push the 30-year down. And so this was good for the market. Well, it wasn't necessarily good, but the market saw it as a good signal because it signals that they're running out of options. They have to do something with the debt, and it seems a bit sporadic in a way for them to do something like this. And then Stanley wrote an article about it. Stanley Druckenmiller, he's one of the biggest hedge fund guys. A lot of people would refer to him as like the GOAT of trading. And he's a big trader. And he wrote an article, and there's a few things to dissect with the article. Like, he said some good stuff in there, and there's a lot to take away from it, but it's also just funny because it was very AI slop, and he got a lot of hate for it being an AI slop article. It's very clearly written by AI, so people kind of wonder whether you can take it at face value. Like, is it just AI writing it, or is it Stanley writing it? So we can talk about what we think about these guys using AI to write articles, and we can get more into AI, but yeah, we'll kind of dissect what he said. He said that what happened was price management, and that's a mistake larger than the $4 billion buyback suggests, because governments defending prices against fundamentals always lose, is what he directly said. And what that means is that the markets are bigger than the Treasury. So yields can fall for a day and they can come straight back up, which is exactly what happened with the 30-year yield. We saw it pretty much bounce back up. And Stanley said that you can't buy your way out of solvency conversation with liquidity tools, because governments shouldn't even be allowed to manage the 30-year the yield prices. But doing that is just, you're basically trying to solve a solvency crisis with liquidity tools that you shouldn't even be necessarily using. And the problem is that there's too much debt. So buying your own bonds doesn't change what you owe. He's basically saying you have two different problems. You have a liquidity problem and you have a solvency problem. So a liquidity problem would mean that you're good for the money, you just can't pay it back now. And then a solvency problem would be that you owe more than you can pay, and then lending doesn't help that. You're just adding to what you can owe. So we know that they're $40 trillion in debt. So just, buying back your own bonds so you have more money to spend, it just kind of leads to the same idea that they're just going to never stop spending the money. Like, what they have to do here, the best thing that they could do is just stop spending so much money, but they're not going to. They're just going to continue to buy back their own debt, push yields lower, and continue to spend heaps of money. And this has kind of always been our thesis about like the debasement trade, but also why we've been big Bitcoin bulls, is because you have three options. You either pay the debt down, so you cut spending, you raise taxes, and politically that just doesn't work. You would never get voted back in, and we just know that the government wouldn't do that, and they're not going to cut spending. You default on the debt, which is not going to happen because they're the reserve currency. So people like Japan, China, Russia, although there's been problems with that with Russia in the past, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, it affects globally rather than just themselves.
Right. Yeah, because people have lent you money. You can't. Defaulting on the debt is not the way out, or you inflate it away. So you just print heaps of money and the debt becomes kind of valueless because you printed away due to inflation, and then you have assets like Bitcoin and gold which benefit from that, and the US is smart enough to know that and benefit from that themselves. So yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons we've been big bulls. There's heaps to dissect with this whole Stanley Druckenmiller thing and Bessent. So Stanley and Bessent are good friends. Stanley, well, not
used
good.
to work together, no?
Yeah, they used to work together. Scott Bessent used to work for Stanley. So did Kevin Walsh, the Fed chair. Yeah, so that's another big point. I mean, we can get more into that later, but we can kind of talk about why Stanley would say something like this, why he would go so against what Bessent's doing in public. Like, why would you not just pick up the phone and call? There's obviously a reason for that because we know that they know each other. So why would you not just pick up the phone and call them and say, well, I think what you're doing is wrong here? He's come out and publicly said it. So there's been a lot of theories around whether that is because it puts a bit of pressure off Bessent if he kind of puts that pressure onto the politicians and what they want to do with spending and everything. But yeah, that's a good point. It's interesting why he came out and publicly said that.
Yeah, and I think the market's now sniff this out, especially like risk assets like crypto, BTC, also gold as well, in terms of like the debasement trade. The US have kind of now shown their hand, which everyone was kind of speculating for so long, what they're going to do with the debt as it's now just crossed 40 trillion. How's that going to affect markets in general? And now I think they've now shown their hand publicly, while you have Scott Bessent come out and say that they're going to buy back double. And it also outlines like the Treasury, the Federal Reserve themselves are getting really standoffish with lending money. As you know, they've started Iran war, they're spending like crazy. That's them saying that they don't want to lend to the US. So the US are now taking their own initiative and have exposed their hand and now showing everyone this is what the plan they intend to do. So that's why we've seen some sort of jump in price action through risk assets like BTC as well. And yeah, it's really just shown their hand completely.
Yeah, and that's why the 30-year is so important, and that's kind of Stanley's problem with it, because the 30-year is a price that the system, the government can't control the 30-year, or they shouldn't be able to. It's like the most honest number. It tells you what people think about US finances. And Druckenmiller's obviously made a lot of money throughout his 40-year career or whatever by reading that, because it tells you a lot about the market and it tells you what everyone else thinks about US finances. And once the Treasury starts managing it, it kind of stops telling you anything, because they're essentially manipulating it themselves. So it's not really the fact that what he's done, it's more the precedent of it, because $4 billion is really nothing. But next time it could be 10, and then it's routine management, and you just don't kind of know what's going to happen with that. So yeah, it's been super interesting to see him come out and publicly give his opinion on it, especially a negative opinion towards it.
Yeah, and yeah, there's just so many different like announcements happening right now, and I know I'm definitely leaning towards that they're just going to print the money, and we're starting to like see them announce it publicly. They haven't done anything yet. They've kind of just outlined some sort of strategy they're going to do, and yeah, it's really the bull case for BTC. We're starting to see the price action happen while the event like this happens. So it's super interesting and definitely a time to start paying more attention than ever before.
Yeah, I mean, altcoins is it's something to look at. Like, altcoins are fun, especially if you've been in the space for a long time. You learn a lot, and you kind of, as you are in the space for longer, you kind of veer off into these different avenues, and you start looking at cool projects and all these different ways that crypto can be utilized, and that's all well and good. But yeah, Bitcoin is really it's a really good thing to hold to hedge against this kind of macro environment, same as gold. It's the debasement trade, and I am super bullish on the debasement trade. I think that they will continue, as you said, to print the money. They will not stop. They will not lower expenses.
Never.
They won't default, but they also won't pay it down. They're not going to cut spending. They're not going to raise taxes. Neither political party would do that. So yeah, I think the only really way out of such a big debt is to inflate it away. And I think that printing the money is inevitable, especially with stuff like the AI data centers. All of these things we talk about week over week, it's all of these different areas we talk about, and they all kind of come into the same thing, which is just they're going to print heaps of money. And Bitcoin and gold obviously do really well with that, because gold not as much as Bitcoin, but they're scarce in value. So the more dollars are out there, then the more those are worth.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was a massive thesis there on like what's all going on right now. So yeah, shout out. Take notes, people. Take notes.
Yeah, I really like the debasement trade, and you kind of, that's how a lot of people get into this industry. You know, you not everyone, but you kind of come in one or two ways. You kind of come in through Bitcoin, or you come in through meme coins. That's how you kind of get into the altcoin market, at least from what I've seen through a lot of people. So it's interesting. There's a lot of people that come in through kind of, they go from gold and they go from silver and they go from stocks and they come over to Bitcoin for the debasement trade, or for saving their wealth, or
Yeah,
you are a
privacy
gambler and you come from
stuff
meme
like that.
coins and you come to
Yeah.
alts. So it's interesting how people get in. But yeah, there's lots to talk about in alts today as well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I wanted to do like a quick thesis on like Robinhood, and what's really going on there, because this has gone quite under the radar. And I know this week, Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, got on the Ice Coffee Hour podcast and kind of outlined what's really happening behind the scenes in terms of tokenization and how bullish he is on it. And I couldn't agree more, because I'm definitely see that use case of stocks getting traded 24/7 on the blockchain, super easy to manage, and Robinhood are literally like really pioneering this. I see this more. We're seeing Base also tying into getting tokenization underway with stocks and make it easier for other countries outside like the US and massive nations who don't have access to US stocks like really easily. So this is like the real use case for it. And this week alone, like Robinhood crossed $1 billion in TVL and expanded agentic trading. So like also AI getting integrated into it. And Vlad basically talked about tokenization global super cycle and push for stock tokens in America. So I know tokenized stocks, I don't think are regulated and approved yet in the US. So I feel like once that really gets pushed, and I'm sure that's some sort of part of the Clarity Act, whether that's part of the legislation, I can see like a tokenization super cycle really kick off here. And that also is bullish for Ethereum and its L2, like Uniswap. And like Uniswap alone is processed almost $1 billion in token volume on Robinhood. So Robinhood are really trying to push this. And if you're bullish on ETH, if you're bullish on Robinhood, these coincide with each other. And yeah, we're starting to really see like Uniswap, for example. I mean, BlackRock made a massive purchase earlier on in the year. And yeah, Uniswap, Ethereum, this all ties into tokenization, super cycle. So yeah, I'm quite bullish on that. And I think that's one of the big events this week also, around like you've got founders like Vlad coming out saying we're in a tokenization super cycle. So it's quite interesting what's going on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's interesting to see it from someone like Robinhood as well, because they're just such a big company and such a retail specific company. Like they really focus on their retail audience. The UI is great, and they have such a big retail audience. I don't know the specific numbers, but it's definitely the biggest US platform. And yeah, I'm big on tokenization as well. I had something saved, and this kind of ties into it because it's the RWA narrative. And one of the things I've been bullish on from a fundamental standpoint has been Ondo. I really like Ondo. I think that I agree with you. I think on-chain like tokenization of stocks and all of this kind of stuff, the big utility of crypto will be a big thing. And yeah, this is Ondo. So Ondo, they're basically trying to tokenize stocks, and this is Ondo's John Hoffman says on-chain markets could grow from $3 trillion to $100 trillion as tokenization makes finance cheaper, faster, and more accessible. And yeah, this is exactly what you're saying. I think that Robinhood, Ondo, there'll be a collective shift to make this happen. I think that it makes a lot more sense for stuff to be on chain, especially stocks. Like if you have traded stocks, it just doesn't really make sense unless you're benefiting off it for the stock market to be closed in an era where crypto exists.
Yeah, and it's mainly for like all the other countries who there's so many steps to get involved in stocks. So say like you're in a country that's not available to like US stock markets really easily, that's exactly where this integration is really good. And I'm sure that will start picking up even more once more people find out about it and it becomes popular. And I see this really integrating into crypto sooner rather than later. We're starting to see the volume numbers alone grow so quickly. And I remember around 6 months ago when it really became an initial topic, and just in that short time frame, we're starting to see Robinhood, and we're starting to see like big capital investment firms like BlackRock getting involved in Uniswap, which is, I've never seen something like that before. So that's like underlying that they're also bullish on tokenization for real world assets. And let's see how far this goes, because this is definitely going to get integrated largely.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's one of the utilities of crypto, which I'm really bullish on, is just tokenizing everything. You're going to have to take us away. I'm going to be back in 2 minutes, but you're going to...
Yeah, I'll take it away. I mean, I can keep talking about Robinhood here because there's a lot going on. I know Robinhood have got so many different launch pads launching at the moment here. So you got like Sushi, Flap. There's so much happening on Robinhood, which I quite like right now. And I know Robinhood's got a bit of a reputation from what happened with GameStop back in like 2020. And I feel like now they've really started to get rid of that and pioneer crypto into an all market. So you've got, I know they've just started with prediction markets as well. So in terms of why I'm bullish on Robinhood in general, is they're becoming an everything platform, and their UI is great. They've got a lot of users on there at the moment which vouch for it. I know on the Iced Coffee Hour, they were saying how great it is. And in terms of like a founder as well, Vlad is one of the best founders out there who's always involved in on-chain stuff as well. So you couldn't have a better founder to be running a company that's really starting to push RWAs. And there's so much happening on Robinhood. It's great to see. And I'm definitely bullish on it. And this also coincides with the bullish case for ETH. So it's both hand in hand, as everything on Robinhood in terms of a crypto aspect is on ETH or an L2 of ETH. So definitely bullish on ETH as well for that. Welcome back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, Robinhood's good. It's cool that they're taking such a pivot towards more of a crypto focused.
I hope Vlad sees this, because shout out, he's a great founder at the moment.
Yeah, there's some good founders in crypto. I mean, Vlad's really not in crypto.
I know Brian Armstrong is getting a lot more involved as well. And I think Base also it's just started to dip their toe in RWAs, and they're very deep connections into with the US in general, in terms of like Base being. I feel like when I see Base, it's such a US exchange.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
screams United States exchange for me. So whether they're going to be like a Trojan horse kind of thing to get people integrated into crypto. But RWAs, if you haven't seen them before, it's definitely, crypto is just becoming an everything platform. And we're starting to see like the final leg of crypto, and its real value is just getting everything onto the one blockchain market.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably the thing you've always heard, but it is just so true. Like, I'm just so bullish on all aspects of crypto, like having the stock market trade 24/7, being able to send money anywhere in the world so quickly with no fees. Like, everything that you can think of,
it's just modern. Like, if you want to stay up to date with the times, like, it has to be on a blockchain rail. And this definitely is going to be the cycle we're going to remember as the real world asset integration cycle, and we'll just see it play out now. But in terms of like backing up with what I'm talking about, we're starting to see Robinhood really pick up here for RWAs, and every other exchange is doing it. It's not just Robinhood.
Yeah, and there's endless possibilities with crypto, like having pre-IPO stocks, having like if you're in Zimbabwe or something, you're in Africa, being able to get a share of a US company. Like, all of these kind of things is just so crucial and so good for just everyone in general. Like, crypto just makes a lot of things so much easier, not even to mention the aspects of fairness and kind of authenticity in a way that it brings. Just like the blockchains are public, so being able to see everything is a really cool and unique thing that I really like.
And then just finishing up with Robinhood as well. I know we spoke about Lido.
This guy's a massive
getting
Robinhood
integrated.
bull.
Oh, it's a big shill. Lido as well. I know you were pretty bullish on it. Their volume as well is almost at 2 billion. Like Lido's also getting wet as well from Robinhood's success. So I just wanted to add that in there. It's super important.
Yeah,
We
which is
spoke about
interesting.
Lido.
Because Lido is very cool and very good, but it was almost trading as a beta to Hyperliquid because of these fears of regulation that Hyperliquid had. And now that it got Hyperliquid kind of got spoken by the president and they talked about how they're going to try bringing it to the US, I kind of had I didn't know exactly how Lido would react to that, but it looks like it's going to react fine. And I think that it's still really bullish because I was listening to Flood. Flood's a good follow on X, and he was doing his Sunday podcast that he does on Spaces, and they were basically just saying that, like, if Elon Musk, if rockets got approved in the US, then not just SpaceX would do well. So yeah, I think that's true that more than one decentralized perp dex can do well. And yeah, Lido's a really good one. I like Lido.
They're
And
doing around
chart's crazy.
200,000. Their highest 24-hour revenue was this week. So their revenue as a company alone is growing day by day, week by week. So if you're bullish on perps, yeah, Lido's also in the conversation.
Yeah, they don't take a fee though, Lido. I don't know exactly how that works.
Oh, whereas Hyperliquid's their own chain, so they take fees, yeah.
Well, Hyperliquid takes fees and they buy back the token with those fees, but Lido doesn't buy back the token because they don't take any fees. And it was one of the ways they tried to cut through the
Become a little bit different, yeah.
yeah, and just compete with Hyperliquid.
Shout
yeah.
out Robinhood, that was a big shill.
Yeah, you like Robinhood.
Yeah, Vlad's fucking awesome. I
Yeah.
reckon he's one of the best founders at the moment. What else is there to talk about? Moving off of like DeFi and like tokenized like RWAs.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of stay on the altcoin topic. Like we talked about Lido, Hyperliquid, we talked about Ondo.
Do we
All
talk
of
about
these
Zcash at all? Like
different-
what's happening there?
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm going into. Yeah, Zcash. So Zcash looks good, and I believe we just had the ETF come out. I would have to confirm that, but I know that it's coming out, which is interesting concept in itself to talk about. Just the fact that if you don't know what Zcash is, it's basically Bitcoin but private. So one of the only real, this is a debatable topic, obviously, but one of the only real problems with Bitcoin or things that Bitcoin lacks is the privacy element. Everything is on chain. You can see everything with Bitcoin. While it's decentralized, you can still see it all on the blockchain. So Zcash kind of solves that issue in a way where it's decentralized. Not where it's decentralized, where it's more private. And yeah, so it's interesting that they got an ETF for I don't really know why you would buy that. I guess just from a price action point of view, but it looks good on the chart. This is Zcash here. So obviously we trade the bull flips a lot, and it had this massive run up, and then it kind of pulled back, massive run up. This is where it had an issue with being hacked by. This scared a lot of people out. There's a little hack incident with Claude, and then it continued its bull trend and went higher, and it just broke over the all-time high. So this is a rough all-time high line. And my thesis on Sunday was basically that it's a really strong break. It looks great, and I think that it will pull back to the red line and continue higher like Pump Fund did. And it looks like it's playing out that way so far. Whether it continues higher remains to be seen. But there's a lot we can talk about with Zcash because it's a cool project, it's a cool idea, and price action looks great.
Yeah, they've definitely had their share of a bumpy road. There has been events where it's pulled back, and I'm not sure last cycle how big it was in terms of like price action, but now it breaking all-time highs is a great sign. And in terms of like ETFs alone, like this is just another ETF getting added where these big companies can make gains off. And yeah, I think Zcash is gonna be a strong mover this cycle for sure.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, there's some interesting conversations around Zcash as well. I know Ansem, I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe that he said that the ratio for Zcash, I don't know if he said should be or could be. I'm really going off the brain here, but something like around the lines of 1 Bitcoin would be 0.1 Zcash, which would mean that if Bitcoin traded at $200,000, then a Zcash would be $2,000.
Yeah,
Which
I did
is-
hear that.
It's not even really...
Whether that does play out and it has some sort of like correlation with BTC, Like, obviously, it's got the 21 million fixed, like BTC does, but now it's private. It'll be interesting to see that, and I could see why it could play out like that. But yeah, what's it at now? So it's around 800.
Yeah, well, I literally just thought of it as I said that, and if I'm doing the math right in my head, it's pretty much around that number anyway, because
Yeah, so BTC is like 80.
Yeah, BTC is at 78.9, and but if you can see on my screen here, you can see Bitcoin is at 78.9 and Zcash is at 78.8. So that pretty much is one Bitcoin for
That's interesting, yeah.
0.1%. But yeah, Zcash is a cool one. Zcash looks definitely good, and I like the privacy narrative. I've looked into Monero and Zcash and traded them for a long time while I've been in crypto, and I think Zcash is it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, privacy could also be a massive mover in this bull. I don't know what other privacy coins there are other than like Monero and Zcash. I think they're like the two popular ones. But yeah, like Zcash, you can't really get on exchanges anyway. It's really hard to get even now.
Depends where you are.
Yeah. Is it like what heaps more available in the US?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the privacy narrative is a really cool thing, and I do agree that I think that it is also could be a popular thing. I think that it has a real opportunity to be a retail kind of story.
Yeah, like a moat kind of thing, getting them into crypto. They see some sort of privacy where they can. I mean, that's kind of what BTC was, not originally, but a lot of people would assume that BTC is private, where you can just see like it's like open source blockchain.
Yeah.
So yeah, this kind of like is in version like the prettier looking BTC, and a bit more updated with like privacy and how important that is in today's day and age. But yeah, definitely like I mean, in Monero is a bit more like secluded, as it's like super hard to get.
Yeah, but Monero's better in the fact that they haven't really like Zcash has signed deals with on and off ramps in crypto. So while it's private, like it's not completely private. Monero's a lot more private.
Yeah.
But Zcash is more Zcash is kind of like the Bitcoin focused privacy coin. Monero is not as much like Bitcoin in the fact of 21 million
Monero
coins.
is like what the public opinion of BTC was in terms of like smuggling money.
Yeah, the kind of
like
crime.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, but Zcash is a cool narrative. It's interesting to get an ETF, and yeah, price action looks great. All-time high breaks. Like we always talk about, you kind of have to play the game like you want to play the game. You shouldn't just follow someone else's strategy completely. And a lot of people do trade these kind of momentum and all-time high breaks. I mean, that was the big trade at the start of the year was Hyperliquid, Zcash, VVV. They were all momentum trades. Everyone was kind of in them, and you just kind of rode them up because nothing else was moving. And yeah, so this is a cool opportunity. All-time high break, a strong one, while the broader market starts to move as well. And yeah, like we've said, it's a cool narrative.
Yeah, and then I know XRP as well, keeping on the top of altcoins, that had a massive move. I'm not sure if we covered it last episode, but yeah, XRP really like turning up the notch here as well. And what's your thoughts on like XRP doing something this cycle? Because it always does something insane.
Yeah, I mean, look, I probably get a bit of hate with XRP because a lot of people don't like XRP, but that's also why it makes it so good, because it's such an asymmetrical bet. But I think that while there's competitors like Solana, XRP is so fast, it's so cheap. It really is genuinely quite a good coin. I know some of the tokenomics are a bit iffy with what they do, but Ripple's a good company as well. And I think Brad Garlinghouse is also a good founder, like we were talking about with Vlad. And this is one of the biggest trendline breaks. To be honest, it's one of the best charts I've seen across the market right now. Just from a pure charting perspective, we have this massive downtrend from where we saw this kind of bear market, which crypto's been through. And yeah, we had the bear flip, and it continued down, and it had this big trend line, which it kept rejecting. And now it's had a really, really, really strong close above it and a bull flip, which is the first bull flip since the bear flip in October,
months.
which a lot of them you had like little fake outs here and there, but XRP really didn't. And now it's had this big run up. So yeah, I think that it looks pretty good, and I like what the coin does. Like I said, the tokenomics are a bit iffy, and it has the hate from the community. But then again, hate from the community is what we talked about last week with an asymmetrical bet. Like if everyone agrees that a token is going to go up or that an asset is going to go up, then who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy it on the way up? Because ultimately, if you're going to sell, and you should be a seller in these markets, then who are you going to sell it to? So I think it looks pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean XRP's always been that one where like it's going to get integrated as like the bank's coin and stuff like that. And I know they've just dipped their toe in like DeFi as well, in the DeFi space. Like they've just got their foot in everything. So like the whole marketing behind it as well is just unreal from Ripple. They always like every time they manage to do something, and it's always come back to XRP.
Yeah, and we talk about the Clarity Act a bit, and I've been saying like.
I thought you didn't want to speak about the Clarity Act.
Yeah, so to be honest,
I had enough of the Clarity Act.
I don't really care about the Clarity Act too much. I don't think it's as big of a deal as a lot of people think. But for XRP, I think the Clarity Act matters a lot because it is, like you said, it's the institutional kind of banking coin. That's the narrative behind it, at least. And if that's going to happen, you need clarity. Like for these institutions
that institutional approval.
Yeah, well, you need to, and these institutions that are going to use it or that are going to buy it or whatever it may be, they need to have clarity. They need to be sure of if it's a commodity or a security, if they're going to get, if they have to follow rules from the SEC or the CFTC, what the rules are, clarity, as the Act says. So, yeah, I think that XRP needs the Clarity Act.
Yeah. And
maybe
like,
Ethereum as well.
Are we going to 500 on XRP? Like for the clip, like is it going to happen tomorrow?
589. I think XRP hits $10,000 by the end of the year. To be honest. What do you?
Let's wrap it up. Like,
what's your price prediction?
I reckon it goes back to all-time highs, and let's see.
Really?
Let's get back to all-time highs first.
I mean, that would be a pretty big move. In all seriousness.
It always manages to do something, and I mean, if it's bullish for the Clarity Act as well.
Chart's too dark. Is that all-time? That's not all-time high. I think I'm being silly.
Is it all-time high?
Was that all-time high? Yeah. Oh, we're not even that far away from the all-time high. Not as far as I thought. 150% from the all-time high.
It could go to 589.
I don't know why. This just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, leave a comment down below if I'm being dumb. I guess we're 150% away from the all-time high. That doesn't seem ridiculous at all. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't even have my chart open. Anyway, I was looking at the XRP chart and drawing lines. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Pump's moving. It's always good to see, like, whenever I open my trading view, it is really an outlier in the market. Although it's not a complete outlier, it's moving a lot harder than the rest of the market a lot of the time. Yeah. Like this is just stuff on my watch list. It's all like 0.9%, and then you have 773 from Pump. So starting to push back up.
People like seeing this for the first time now and seeing why we're so bullish. Like what could you say what part of the stage we are in, whether it's what part of the cycle, what part are we in right now in terms of what price action is doing, what sentiment's like, what's actually happening, and why? Where do you think we are right now? Like, is this pre-bull? Yeah. Is this end of bear? Is this?
Look, I think
already in a bull?
I think the way I would put it is it's not. You shouldn't get too hung up on pinpointing exactly where you are. You should trade the market you have and not the market you want. I think that we're seeing some incredible strength from a technical point of view. Everything has got bull flips on the summer cloud. We've got massive closes on the weekly and the daily timeframes above key resistance levels. We look like we're in a really good spot from a technical point of view. Everything is ripping hard. And then just all the stars seem to be aligning. From a macro point of view, we talked about it a lot at the start of the show, but I think from a macro point of view, everything is lining up. You have the debasement trade where you believe that they'll basically print a lot of money and print their way out of the debt. And that's good for assets like gold and Bitcoin, where there's a certain number of them, but there's also good for assets that are risk assets, because if they print the money, then there's more liquidity in the market. So I believe that all the stars are kind of aligning, and we're at the part in the cycle where you want to be watching super closely. I think that's what I would say. We're at the part of the cycle where you want to be watching as many YouTubers, you want to be looking on X, and you want to be kind of taking your time away from doom scrolling and putting your time into really trying to just learn and navigate the markets right now. That's what I would say.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I really do think all the stars are aligning. I mean, from a technical standpoint, it looks insane. Like, it looks so good.
Yeah.
But you never know what can happen, so I wouldn't be full porting here. For Bitcoin, like for altcoins, they kind of all tell their own story. But for Bitcoin, I would say that if we can get above 84K, you're kind of off to the races a little bit. I mean, printing a 25% weekly candle and closing it is the strongest starting signal ever. But yeah, above 84K, and it looks a whole lot better.
I think in terms of like BTC's move, BTC, I know we've spoken about this so many times on the show, but is like some sort of liquidity smoke alarm. As soon as it has that little sniff of liquidity coming back, whether what the US are doing, showing their hand, it's definitely, you're seeing it in the price action.
Yeah, it definitely is like the last true market. And it's also the easiest thing to grab, which makes it such a good liquidity smoke alarm, because it's 24/7 market. It's the first thing people sell, and it's kind of the first thing people buy in these kind of environments. So yeah, I would agree with that completely. And that was one of the problems with touching the 30-year yield, is that's a big alarm. That's one of the alarms that Druckenmiller has always used throughout his trading career. And forcing yields down by buying back your own debt kind of takes away that alarm. So that's why that was important, what we talked about at the start of the show.
Yeah. And in terms of like the most oversold asset class, that is what crypto's been in the past 12 months. I think also people are going to start seeing some sort of rotation out into like crypto in general. I know I spoke about this a couple months ago, and I'm seeing it really start to play out now in terms of like the macro environment. We're seeing like them show their hand. We're starting to see BTC, and I feel like the higher the price is going to go here on BTC, which I believe is going to happen, we're going to start to see people FOMO in around 100K. And by then, the people who have been locked in the past 12 months are going to be the ones benefiting off of it, because they've watched channels on YouTube or watched the show like this and had a better understanding before the crowd and the herd arrived. And I think, we're going to see that on BTC around when BTC breaks 100, we're going to start to see a lot of inflow.
Yeah, and talk about all the stars aligning. That's another thing that you can mention. You can mention the macro environment, the charts, and just like how other assets have performed compared to Bitcoin. It really has been that it's been the lagging asset. You had stocks, and you could have basically thrown a dart at the board throughout the memory game and throughout the AI game and made heaps of money. So the stars are really aligning. And macro standpoint is crazy. Like, we'll quickly touch on, we got $40 trillion US debt now exceeds 123% of the GDP, which is, it's just more and more
people are waking
things
up to this now, because it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And this is exactly why you need to have an understanding of why BTC is a great use case in terms of like debasement trade.
Yeah, 100%. And then we also had this, which was the this is what's coming out this week. So this kind of ties into the macro a little bit. We'll quickly touch on it.
Friday, isn't it?
I believe it's today. Yeah, today in the US. So
the Jackson Hole meeting.
Jackson Hole is on Friday. This is the what I've got pulled up here is the US PCE inflation drops today. Just another good indicator to watch. This is the producer. This is the personal consumer index, personal consumer expenditures. So it's the it's basically it's the goods and services inflation for US citizens essentially. It's a good inflation to watch. I mean, I don't know if you watch all this stuff. Some people do, some people don't. So that's dropping this week. That'll be interesting to see. We got this crypto rover thinks that if PCE is above 3.6%, then risk off, and below is risk on. So that's some of the news this week. And then we can just quickly touch on what the on-chain market's doing and commodities, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what's really happening on chain right now? I think since perps are starting to move a little bit more, we're starting to see on-chain die off a tiny bit here, but I don't think it's fully died off yet.
Yeah, let's quickly look at commodities first, just because it kind of ties into this whole debasement thing, and then we'll wrap it up with some of our on-chain things, on-chain theses, and what we think is happening on the on-chain market. But if we look at we can look at gold and silver. We had like trend lines on gold and silver that we thought, and obviously we follow the Summit Cloud, and seeing a bull flip, it's just across the board. Seeing these bull flips is so good to see. Like we can see when you do get these bull runs, like the last time we got a bull flip was down here in 2023, and it just ran all the way up. It ran from 1.8k, 1.9k to $5.6 thousand an ounce for gold. And then we got this little pullback, and we saw a trend line be formed with it testing this resistance level, and then it broke this
Just
big
healthy pullback.
Yeah, big strong close as well, and it's pushed up, and now it has created a bullish flip. So yeah, it looks really good. Again, we're from a fundamentals point of view, we're really bullish from a macro standpoint, but also just the chart looks super nice. Same with silver. Looks like it's just about to get the bull flip, and it's had about I believe it's like a 20 or 30% move since we called that trend line flip. And yeah, so commodities are looking really strong.
Yeah,
and
that
oil
definitely ties into like the
Oil's
debasement.
down.
Oil's got moving down again. Yeah,
it's down like 5% today. But yeah, let's have a quick look at on-chain. That's commodities. We're long-term bulls on commodities for the same reason we're bulls on Bitcoin, and from a technical standpoint, they're looking really good again, which is cool to see. So we're watching those closely. We can see CashCat has had a big run on the on-chain market. It's one of the ones it's cool to see. We talked about last episode which one will be the first to $1 billion, which is interesting. $1 billion in market cap. Seeing a 9-figure runner is definitely a healthy on-chain environment.
I might have said Ansem.
Yeah, we talked about Ansem, CashCat. One of them will be.
I still do feel like the cat narrative season is so strong. So strong.
Yeah.
Like CashCat pumping like crazy. We've also had Kate as well. You're seeing Base Cat as well. There's so many different ones. And I feel like it's really early doors still. And yeah, like CashCat is just off to the races. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, even like it's funny to see, you kind of mess around. A lot of people know the basics in charting, and it's funny to see because we talked about CashCat kind of in one of our first episodes. I believe it was it would have been a while ago, but we talked about like the cup and handle on another coin, and then we talked about the cup and handle on CashCat. Like, you can kind of see the cup and handle, and it's just cool seeing those charting formations play out on charts. It's always good to see. But yeah, it looks good, CashCat. I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's definitely around like, I know Vlad spoke pretty heavily on like him being bullish on chain as well, because he loves getting on chain. So I know CashCat has had like a little bit of a move off of something like that coming out. But yeah, I mean, there's a bit of moves happening.
Yeah, it's one of the Robinhood ones. Base?
Shout out Robinhood. Yeah. I know Base has had a bit of a movements around different tokens on there. And their team in general is like pretty on board with it.
Yeah, this is the big one on Base right now. This is Base Cat. So again, with the kind of cat theme they got going on.
I know it was dog theme last cycle, and now it seems like it's the cat narrative.
Seems that way. We got Kate, Base Cat, CashCat. Yeah. Ansem's a bull though. Ansem's not a cat.
Maybe he'll turn into a cat.
The big black cat.
The big. We might see it. We might see the bull transform into cat.
Yeah, maybe they should change it to the big black cat.
Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, Base, seeing some movements on the Base chain, which is cool. Yeah, all the chains seem to be getting some activity.
Yeah, and I think the RWA narrative as well is still there. But I think this week alone, because of the move happening on the majors, on-chains died off a tiny bit. I'm not saying it's dead. It's just pulled back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, volume's still hot though, but yeah.
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 For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I still think on-chain's going to be really big this cycle just because of like we talked about last episode, FOMO was on the number 3 on the leaderboard on the finance app store. Like, just having these apps, just having this really good UI and having this really good just accessibility to be able to trade, but also, as the name suggests, FOMO. Like, it is, you go on the FOMO app and you see the leaderboard and everyone's up. Like you can't even get in the top 50 on FOMO unless you're up 100 grand on the day. So
Yeah, it's insane.
I think on chain is going to be massive, massive, massive. Just
I know
from
they
a
just added
retail
like
point of view.
creator fees, so like getting paid on you making a call and then someone following behind you
Yeah,
trading off of that.
yeah,
I
we
know
talked about that on
got
Sunday.
rolled out.
It's a cool concept.
Yeah. So yeah, like Pump Fun, FOMO, they're the kind of two hot exchanges for on chain right now, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Is there anything else you want to add with on chain?
Not really. To be honest, I'm not watching the
Kinda
on-chain
covered
market too much. I'm not like fully locked in on the on-chain market. I'm still watching and everything, but yeah, I think it looks good. I think it's definitely some strong big runners, and you just have to play your own game. You can buy the big runners, and that works out and stuff like Cash Cat. Like people lost hope, but you kind of just got to hold it, and it went up. And then yeah, although volumes start off a little bit, the volume's still pretty high if you want to trade those small runners. So definitely something to be paying attention to. I don't think you want to turn a blind eye to anything in the crypto industry, especially not at a time like this. So I'd just be watching it, and we'll continue to update it twice a week on our
100%.
thoughts on chain and what different stuff's going. But yeah, right now I don't really have any big calls for on chain. Nothing
No, I can
specifically.
just feel it. Just I think like Cash Cat is like the only one that's really been pushing right now. I think everything else is kind of just idling at the moment. But that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a terrible thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of everything with on chain. I know what's Ansem looking like. I know it's sitting around like 300.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of still sitting around. Like it pulled up a little bit here, and then it's kind of sitting around. I don't know. I still think we talked about it a few episodes ago, but I was listening to a Thread Guy episode, and he had someone on. They were talking about the Ansem chart, and I still think it's one of the coolest, one of the best takes I've heard. Which is if a price is a price for too long, it's probably not a good price. And they were talking about that while looking at this. And I think that's an interesting concept and one to keep in mind, that while a lot of people think consolidation is a good thing and the longer the base, the higher in space, all of these kind of things you've heard, it is true that if it bases for too long, maybe it's not a good price. You'll probably be able to buy it cheaper, or you'll be able to buy with some momentum on the way up. So yeah, it's ranging right now. I think that if you're not in, you could maybe wait for a bit lower or buy the momentum. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a cool project, and Ansem is a very big person in the space, and he does good stuff, and he's built a good reputation. So yeah, it's worth watching. Ansem.
No cat though, but yeah, maybe it's gonna be first bull run.
Yeah, I mean,
No cat though.
I think he's well and truly got his flowers, but it is pretty crazy, to be honest, that he called the bottom.
Oh, 100%. It
Like
could be like a full Jenny call.
Yeah, if that truly was the bottom, that was like bottom wick. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. It's almost like he just pressed a button and we all said
Well, that is what people have said, and it is true. Like the market only really needed to kind of collectively decide that it was the bottom, and then the stars started to align in a way. Like when everyone starts, because you just need people to start watching again, right? So
Yeah, you need eyes back. You need liquidity coming back. You
Yeah.
need people to turn the sentiment around 180.
Yeah, but I mean, we're live twice a week. We can pretty much wrap it up there. But like we were saying, the stars are aligning. There's so many spots. We'll continue to cover all the spots twice a week.
100%.
If you do want to, I'll leave a link to our website down below. We have the members section, so you can join that, and you can just take a look. This is the dashboard, so you get your own personalized dashboard, the scanner, which has bullish and bearish trends on daily and weekly timeframes through crypto, stocks, commodities, ETFs, your own personal watch list. You get a weekly report we give out, which is macro driven, but also what we see on chain and throughout everything we're looking at. Your own portfolio, which you can see here, all your allocations to, just really keep track and stay on top of it. And you can also see the bullish and bearish next to your portfolio. The calendar, if you're watching the show, you probably don't need it, but it shows the PPI, the CPI, everything upcoming. You got the cloud indicator, which you can add to your chart. The news section, if you just want to block out the noise and just look at crypto, stocks, macro, ETFs, or all of them, and just read the basic news headlines. If you want to work with us directly, you can book a call with one of us on this page here. Go give it a read if you need some help or some kind of guidance throughout the market from a data and research point of view, because like we said, you can make your own decisions, but getting that kind of alpha and getting it put in front of you is always good if you don't have time to research or you don't know what to research. You can
100%.
you can follow us, and that's kind of it. We're live twice a week. We talk macro, we talk markets, we talk business, we talk on-chain, alts, all of it. The stars are starting to align, and there's going to be a big bull run happening soon. So
Bug bull run.
whenever it
the
is,
black cats.
whenever
Let's
it
go.
is, allocate yourself, and just be prepared. It's not about buying the bottom tick. It's not about slamming all of the money in, all chips on the table now. It's not about that. It's about starting to pay attention. You don't even have to have heaps of money. You just have to be watching, and you just have to find spots, because there's definitely spots, and this is a beatable industry. So just tune in.
Turn all the sensors on, and let's participate in this bull.
I mean, there's so many
Great send-off.
opportunities. We're live on Sunday, so make sure you tune in for. We're live twice a week. We're live Wednesday and Sunday. Go check out our website if you want to work with us, or if you want anything to do with Summit. And just make sure you tune in, and just keep grinding, keep looking at the charts, keep looking at X, and we got some fun times ahead.
Of course. We'll see you guys on Sunday.
Peace. Oh, I pressed be right back and not outro.
No.
Like and subscribe. Like.